Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith, I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and I'm back with my Technique Tuesday. So this is where I just pick a technique and then share a card using it, and today I'm sharing one which, a reminder of a technique really that shared or reminded that I was reminded of on a recent get-together, which is the spotlight technique. So this is where you take an area, you stamp an image and then you take an area and just colour that particular area. And hopefully you can see here that what I've actually done is punched it out and layered it up. So you get a lovely kind of 3D effect on that. And you could use any shape punch you want. I happen to have used the new decorative circle, and I've also used the beautiful cottage rose stamp set that you can see here. So you could, if you wanted to, just colour, just the flower on that and make it really simple. I've added an extra layer on the front there as well to just give it a little bit of dimension, and the colours I've used here were inspired by this card that we made recently with Shelley and Sarah Douglas that they shared, which is using Flirty Flamingo and So Saffron, which I thought was unusual. There's a lovely rose, like an apricot colour rose, my mum's garden, which this is very similar to, and then we've used mint macaron and old olive, which again is not something I'd have put together, but I love the effect on those leaves. So as I say, that's the card that we made as a part of it, which I think is it's very Shelley, it's absolutely beautiful. And then this is kind of what I came up with to share the technique. So let's get started. To start off with then, you're going to need a simple tent fold or book fold card base. Mine is UK cardstock. I've made mine 29 by 10.5, scored at 14.5 across on the long edge for my base. I've then got a layer of basic white, which is 14 by 10. Now if you're using other cardstock, you just make that layer half a centimetre or a quarter of an inch smaller to get that layer. So that's the layer I'm using. I've then got a scrap of basic white to do my stamping and punching on. I've got a scrap, literally, of basic white for my sentiment, and a bit of Flirty Flamingo as well to layer that up. So, really simple but effective technique this. What I've done is I've put my stamp set, my stamp on a block, and I'm just going to use some Memento Black. So on this panel, I'm going to come and I'm going to sort of do my focal image first, because I want to make sure I get that in the right place. So I'm going to pop that just up from the bottom and in, probably sort of fairly central, and then move it slightly to one side, like so. Because it's a larger stamp, this is where I take my ink my ink pad to the stamp. It just makes it a little bit easier to get good coverage. So you just tap all over. I'm just going to pop that to save a bit of grid paper, and I'm just going to stamp in the bottom corner there, using this top corner with the leaves and the stuff like baby's breath, gypsophila type bit. And then I'm going to come in from the top, and again I might just do the leaves on the top there as well. So look. So again, inking up well. Again, just to turn it around and think of, is that going to, or would I rather have the flower? I think I'd probably rather have the flower actually. So just coming into the top corner there, like so. So there's our panel. So I'm going to now stamp this a second time onto my scrap card. So this is one, if you're new to stamping, you haven't got dies yet, you're not sure, this is one where you can really get a lovely effect without actually having to stamp anything, having to die cut anything. So that's the bit I'm going to colour, and while I've got my stamps out, I'm actually going to stamp on the inside of my card. So I'm just going to take the leaves and just add those in that corner there, just to add a little bit of interest. And then finally I'm going to take that skinny little scrap and hope I can get this straight. I have to say, straight stamping isn't my forte. Right, Okay, but let's give it a go. Here's my happy birthday, and that strip is, you see, I told you, rubbish. Let's try again. Okay, happy birthday. Actually, what I'm actually going to do is get some clean grid paper, get it in the centre there. Right, there we go. Just cleared that down and put that out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my Stampin' Blends. So to colour this image, as I said, I'm just using, can't get the dog hair off there and put some inky smuts on it, typical. I'm coming in with my Flirty Flamingo and just adding the pink on that, in that depths, and really where you can see those little sort of marks for the flower. So I'm just coming in, and because they're alcohol markers, when you add the saffron over the top, it will blend those colours together. So I'm not great detail, just make sure I come in on each petal, just where there might be a bit of shadow, like so. And I'm going to come in with and I've actually used the dark saffron here, and I'm just coming in. I think I probably used the light on the previous one. But I'm just going to give that a really, I think this is actually my new one as well. I came to use mine and it had given up the ghost, so there we go. And this will dry a little bit lighter. I'm just going to make the centre there. There we go. And so just a light touch with these. And you can always come in and add a bit more colour. I think maybe I used the dark Flirty Flamingo, so I might just come in a little bit more with a little bit of dark Flirty Flamingo. And then just blend that a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so I'll use my light saffron because I don't want to make it too dark. There we go, just that's better, just to add a little colour to it. Okay, so now I've got my flower. I say I must have used the light saffron on my first one. But obviously, while I didn't make a note. Typical, when you're just sort of doing stuff and you're creating away. I then packed up all my materials. And didn't make a note of what I'd use for my sample, but hey, it'll be interesting to see what it turns out like, because that's the beauty of it, isn't it? We can each make it our own. And I'm not going to worry about doing too much, with these. I'm just going to make sure I do cover them, so when I punch it out, I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to have to go back in and colour it, but you could always add to it if you wanted to afterwards. And then again, so I'm coming in and I've used the dark mint macaron here. Again, I think I possibly used the light mint macaron on my sample. So this one's kind of generally going to be a stronger colour. And I said by adding that sort of old olive, I just thought it gave a beautiful vintage sort of colour to the leaves. And just turn them a beautiful shade. You don't really, you don't see that old olive as much in here. Here's me wittering on. Is there anybody listening? Anybody out there? Who knows? And that's the beauty of doing some colouring, isn't it? That, you can really have lots of fun and just witter away. Chat away as you do. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my punch. And I'm simply going to decide how much of that I want. So what I want to do is, I want to leave some of the image outside because you want to kind of get that spotlight effect. So I'm coming part way across the leaves and part way across the flower. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back there. What have I got? I've got mini ones. I've got a few that need using up. There we go. So I'm just going to add sort of some dimensionals to the back there. Got some little half ones and odd shapes, so might as well use those up. In fact, I might just put an extra little bit just there. And then you simply layer that up on the top. Okay. So we're going to have a look at where those leaves line up. And the flower, there we go. And actually that's gone quite central. You can see I've got a lovely image there. I'm going to trim this down just by eye, although I probably should have used my trimmer actually. In fact, I might just pop the trimmer in there just because otherwise I'll probably cut it at an angle. And then when you want a really narrow border, there we go, just pop that into the corner of a scrap of card, and then you've got your two narrow borders done already. Leave that to dry for a second, and while it's drying I'm just going to grab my dark Flirty Flamingo and my iridescent pearls, and I've already coloured one of the larger ones in. I'm just going to colour a couple of smaller ones of our iridescent pearls. And those are going to be used to just add an accent to the top there. Let that dry. That tombow should be fine now. So I'm just going to cut along that straight edge and up. I'm going to pop some dimensionals onto the back here. And this is where, you know, you want to make sure it's well supported. So, you know, I pop them in the corners because you always want your corners to be well supported. And then I'm going to pop them on the sides as well. And then just pop on each of those spaces there. Peel your dimensionals off. Oh, it's finally gone light. It's been so dark this morning, earlier on today. Right, so make sure your card is opening the right way, and then you can just pop that onto the front there, layering that up. Pop a couple of dimensionals onto the back of our sentiment. And actually what I might end up doing is putting an extra grouping of pearls, I think, because of my, there we go, I'll pop them around the sentiment rather than around the flower. And there we have a version of the spotlight technique, quick and easy, and using our lovely decorative circle punch. If you fancy having a go, pop along to my to Stampin' Up. Choose me as your demonstrator so I can send you a thank you card. I'd be most appreciative. I'm Heidi Smith, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you have, please give me a thumbs up and click that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And if you're not already notified, click on the little bell, because that means you'll get told when I post another video. Thanks for watching. Come back soon. Bye.